So, hello everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the Lebanese Biodiversity Podcast. Oh my God, I'm so excited. So, yoo-hoo! Okay, so today's episode is about otters. So, we will be talking about otters with Samara, and I will let Samara introduce herself first. And then we can talk more about the subject and her current work and research in Lebanon. So, hi Samara,
Hi, Dr. Mira.
how are you?
I'm good, darling. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Can you introduce us to yourself? Tell us a bit about
Sure.
yourself.
First, thanks for having me. And hi, everybody. My name is Samara El-Haddad. I'm a British Lebanese zoologist. I am currently working in Lebanon on filling the data gaps of fauna for wildlife conservation and ecological restoration, as well as developing awareness sessions on the species present in Lebanon and their ecosystem services. And finally, working on capacity building training for how to develop wildlife conservation projects based on the IUCN One Plan approach, as well as the different conservation technologies and methodologies they can do to research such species.
Okay, thank you. So, can you tell us a bit more about what is a zoologist? So, what does it mean to be a zoologist, or what do you study when you are a zoologist?
As a zoologist, you work with all types of fauna, all invertebrates and invertebrates, and you study their interactions with their environments. There's over 13 branches within zoology that you can master, whether it's being a mammamologist, a conservationist, a geneticist, so on and so forth. I'm quite broad and multidisciplinary. So I'm more for animal behavior, conservation, and science communication.
Okay, thank you. So broadly, it is working on animals, and you eventually
Yes,
choose a branch that you specialize in, which is either a group of animals or, for example, more broadly, genetics, where you can work on large populations or more than one group.
exactly. And it's been coming in the recent generations. It's better to be multidisciplinary at the same time. You have your specialty, but you add different um,
Okay, but you need to
branches
be
together.
able to at least have a basic knowledge of the other fields.
Exactly.
Okay, well, thank you for that. And can you tell us a bit about your study and background? So basically, how did you end up becoming a zoologist, or what studies did you do originally before ending up here?
I studied at Anglia Ruskin University in Cambridge, UK. I did my bachelor's in zoology, and in the last year, I specialized in animal behavior and conservation. Um, then I moved on to my master's. I wanted to diversify a bit more. I started with environmental law, but I didn't finish my full master's degree. I only did enough credits to get a postgraduate certificate because I felt I can gain more experience and knowledge on the ground versus in a classroom. So I spent 1 year doing back-to-back internships across the world, from snow leopards to in the Altai Republic to wolves in Belarus, Ukraine, and Poland. Wolves did not know the geographic boundaries of where their habitat and territory is, so we were just
Okay.
tracking them across those three countries on the borders. To tiger trafficking with Four Paws UK. I've done quite a diversity of work after that, which then led me to come to Lebanon and wanting to use all of that knowledge and experience to try and make a difference in our heritage country.
Okay, well, that is really cool. And this is like quite some experience and different countries that you have behind you. And so, can you tell us what got you into this? Like basically, and in other terms, why did you choose to study this? Is this something that you always wanted to study? Did you always know that you wanted to go in a biology field? Did you always like nature?
Yes to all of the above.
Okay.
Um, I've been constantly passionate since I could remember. Family members used to tell me that at age 2, I used to know over 100 um, scientific, the Latin names of 100 and something invertebrates and things like that. And I honestly just wanted to be like Steve Irwin. He was my idol when I was young.
Okay.
And I did not understand though the technicality of his work until I was 8 years old. On my actual 8th birthday, my late aunt sat me down and asked me what I wanted to be. And I was like, I'm gonna be like Steve Irwin. When I wake up in my tent, the animals will be waiting for me. So she explained to my innocent mind that Steve Irwin studied zoology at university.
Okay.
And then he works to conserve these species. And what you see on TV, there's lots of hard work before he reaches to those animals and does this awareness and stuff. And she gave me further details. I looked at her and I still don't understand how she did that for an 8-year-old. But I looked at her dead in the eyes, like, okay, if that's what he actually does, then I'm going to follow through. And I did. And I stayed
And
passionate. It's not that I just, stuck to it. I just grew more and more passionate. The more I learned about wildlife, the more I learned that without them, humanity won't exist really. So the whole nature, fauna, everything. Without it, humanity as a species won't survive. So we need to protect them to protect us.
okay, well, thank you very much for this, and you succeeded. You were passionate about this, and well, here you are.
Thank you. I'm trying.
You are doing a very good job. And so this brings us to what you are doing today in Lebanon. Can you talk to us a bit about your current research in Lebanon and well, your work on otters?
Definitely. So my work in Lebanon has been diverse, but it's all started with the otters and it's still continuing. Otters in Lebanon are considered critically endangered on the national level, though internationally the Eurasian otter is considered near threatened. But we have
Okay,
its own IUCN category nationally.
okay. So it is
And
more endangered in Lebanon?
yes, they're labeled as critically endangered,
Okay,
while their global status is only near threatened.
okay,
And they're restricted to, when we started the project, we discovered they're only mainly restricted to 3 rivers, um, نهر الكبير, Litani, and Hispani, which
okay,
are politically sensitive areas, let's say.
okay.
Um, and actually, as of earlier this year, we found them in another river, uh, to be discussed and mentioned later on.
Okay, okay, that's really cool. Well, like basically the first question that pops into my mind is, do we have otters in Lebanon? And I think this is the question that pops into the mind of a lot of people who will be listening to this.
Yes.
When was this discovered? Did we always know that we had otters in Lebanon?
Yes, since the 60s or 80s, if I'm not mistaken, was the first publication that otters are present.
Okay, it's been
Um,
quite a while. Okay,
yes, but there's no studies on the population, genetics, or anything. So those publications, if you go back and read them, they're very diverse. Some are saying it's the Lebanese otter. Some are saying it's the ancient Palestinian otter that gone extinct, but it's not extinct because it's still present in Lebanon. And then some are
okay.
saying it's the Eurasian otter. And it's like you're all saying this, but no one's ever captured an otter or used or collected its spraint or did, any form of genetic analysis. It's just throwing these Latin names around without any basis.
Okay, so to be honest, before recording this, I went online to try and find which species we had in Lebanon, and I wasn't able to find any conclusive answer.
Yes.
Um, So yes, maybe you could tell us a bit about how could we find this out? And do you have the answer? Do you know the actual species now?
Yes, yes, we do. We have the Eurasian otter, Lutra lutra.
Okay,
Um,
okay,
but unfortunately, they are mostly inbred.
okay. So is it an isolated population? Which is, for
Yes.
example, if I want to ask this differently, how many kilometers away is the closest population of Eurasian otters or of otters?
Um, I don't know on the top of my mind exactly how far Nahr el-Kbir and Litani are, but like you're talking far north to far south of
Okay, I
Lebanon.
see. Okay. And so, how did you find out the species?
I've been collecting since 2021 otter sprains. So for everyone to know, in the scientific world, we call poop scat, fecal matter, so on and so forth. But for
Okay.
some animals, they have a special name. They have a name just for them, how guano is for bats.
Okay.
So when it comes to otters, their poop is called spraints. So I've been collecting spraints with other team members here at LRI, which I want to give them a shout out. Thank you for all of the hard work and helping me on this project. But we've been collecting spraints across the years, and we've been working then with the Cardiff University in Wales on doing the
Okay.
genetic analysis with them because they have a huge otter department. And with them, we've been able to discover all of this. And soon
Okay.
to be published officially also, hopefully by the end of summer, early autumn, official publication will come out with all of the findings.
Okay. This is really cool. We'll be looking forward to seeing the final publication. And
Thank you.
so, can you tell us a bit about how do you monitor them? So now you just mentioned that you basically collected poop, but how do you? uh, I'm gonna ask this differently. Like, do you just go on the field and watch otters to be able to draw
Un
conclusions on whether they're doing okay or not, or is it all indirect monitoring methods?
all indirect, unfortunately, because of their activity time and due to where these locations are, we can't really be in dusk and dawn present in those locations, trying to spot them visually. So we
Okay.
leave some camera traps to monitor them, which we've actually you can actually see on the Lebanon Reforestation Initiative's Instagram. We've posted some really cute videos of otter families playing around together, a mom and her pups, and things like that. So, and the rest of it is all through the springs because I have a motto, which anyone that has worked with me or has been trained under me knows my motto, which is poop is gold. From poop, you can know everything and anything your heart desires. It has all the information there for you.
Yes.
Are
Well,
you
this is
sick? Are you pregnant? Are you healthy? You know, everything you can possibly think of, it's present in the sprains.
this is really cool because we don't always have the possibility of doing non-invasive monitoring methods, meaning being able to follow up on how a species is doing without directly intervening or
Exactly.
without collecting specimens like we have to do for insects sometimes. So, would you like to share more of what you know on their ecology, how they are doing in Lebanon? So, for example, you mentioned earlier when you were introducing them that they were critically endangered in Lebanon. So, what does this technically mean?
They're one stage away from being completely extinct nationally. And
Okay,
unfortunately, with the genetic studies that we've been doing on their genetic health, they are mostly inbreeding with one another. So we don't have a healthy population. So I'm currently working on developing an ex situ assessment with IUCN and different specialists around the world. Hopefully, in the next 2 months, we'll be able to conduct that assessment together through a workshop and make a ex situ decision on what we can do for our otters genetically speaking. Do we need to
Okay,
take a
I
couple
see.
of them out, or should we be reintroducing a couple? But the issue with that is we need lots and lots of riparian rehabilitation at the same time happening, wastewater management. As you know, most of agriculture lands use rivers you know,
Rigate.
irrigate
Yeah.
their crops. So there's lots and lots of threats and things that need to be dealt with. But it's good to know through the ex situ assessment what we need to do while we tackle all of the in situ threats. So we have a balance of both. This is why I like the IUCN One Plan approach. You take both sides, you try to work on both aspects to actually be able to make a difference. Because in science across the years, it's been either I'm only doing in situ conservation or only doing ex situ conservation. It's like, no, you have to do both together and collaborate together to make a difference.
So this basically makes us jump to the next question, which is what can we do? What can we do to protect them?
Municipalities, citizens, everyone can do small things in their communities by trying to enforce municipalities to actually do wastewater management.
Okay.
As I don't know if you know this, but not this last winter, the previous one, Lebanon had a cholera outbreak due
Oh,
to untreated sewage into our rivers, and which also had an effect on the otters. So this is like the biggest first step. Citizens can take action themselves and enforce their heads of municipalities to make that difference on the ground.
okay.
Um, and it's a big list actually, but I think the biggest one that would help as a domino effect is the wastewater management. It's not just for the otters, but it's for all the local communities. These communities that live by these rivers used to fish. They use the water to irrigate their agriculture land. So, that's all going back into our systems also. So if that's sorted, we'll have them be able to have a healthy population. And otters also, they're considered like a flagship species, so we can use them to keep the ecosystem healthy around. And yeah, it will be a domino effect, really, for the work that needs to be done.
Okay. And what can, for example, environmental NGOs or governmental entities do to help?
Work together.
Okay.
Work together to get funding, um, and do these projects on the ground, because there are several nature-based solutions to do wastewater management as well as rehabilitation, and including the communities in the work. So we need to work together. This is not an individual work.
Okay.
Whether it's as a person or as an entity, we need to come together and do this, because there's lots of problems to tackle, and without each other, we won't be able to make the big difference that we would like to make on the ground, not just for the species, but also for the health of the communities.
Okay. Well, we really hope that this will be going in the right direction in the following years and that local communities will be able to benefit from having these rivers again, and that your efforts for the conservation of the species will pay off also in having other species
Thank you.
basically being able to benefit from these measures. Well, thank you for all the work you have been doing. So I have two very last questions for you
Yeah.
to close this talk. The first one would be, what advice would you give to future zoologists, or what advice would you give to people who would like to go in a similar field to yours?
Um, Passion. This job is very hard. There's lots of negative things happening, so you need to have that passion and will to face all of those threats and change them into coexistence and positivity. So being passionate, strong-headed, and willing to collaborate. We need to put hand in hand together, and we can actually make a difference. And for the people out there that want to be zoologists in Lebanon in specific, it is possible. Don't let anyone tell you it is not. Look at me. I am here working. We have a beautiful team here at El-Haddad and other teams with other NGOs also, like Lebanese Wildlife or in Friends of Nature, so on and so forth. We can grow. So we need more passionate people from the country. Even if you're expats, you can come back and you can make a difference.
Thank you very much for this message, Samara. I really hope that people who want to go into this field don't feel discouraged. And I hope this message reaches people that are still hesitating to dive into this field if this is what they want. And the last question, which is not really a question, is do you have any closing ideas, or would you like to do any shout outs, or would you basically like to tell the audience what they should look out for in the future? If you would like to put any contact information for any of the issues we just discussed. Sorry, that question went on forever. It's basically any
No
closing
worries.
remarks, but I listed everything. Okay.
Honestly, just reach out to these organizations, whether it's here at El-Haddad, which is Lebanon Reforestation Initiative, giving a follow on social media and seeing what the work is happening, doing internships. There's this great program now for youth from age 18 to 24 that can gain practical experiences. It's called the YCC program, Youth Conservation Course. If you guys are into rehabilitation, wildlife rehabilitation, there's Lebanese Wildlife. Would you like more marine or flora? You've got Friends of Nature, the Diaries of the Ocean. You know, contact these people. We want passionate people, and it always starts with an internship, guys, or even volunteering. Then you will find your place, and you'll grow from there into a real job position. So this is something everyone needs to know. In the environmental sector, you need to do lots of internships to gain that experience, to prove yourself, and that's how you land possibly your forever job or different jobs that you like to change in. And it is possible. And just to let everyone know, these are some organizations that are on the top of my mind right now that I've mentioned. There are several others too. So yeah, contact me. I can give you more, or Google's our best friend these days. There's several NGOs out there.
Okay, we will link a few or put as much as possible below the
Yeah.
link for this episode. And well, thank you very much for your time, Samara. This has been really great.
Thank you.
And
Thank you for the opportunity.
well, thank you again for your time, and we're really excited to see the published results, but also just to see what these efforts will yield in the future. And thank you for all the work you do for conservation.
Thank you. And I want to thank you too for everything you do also, which hopefully one day we'll speak more about it on another podcast.
Yes, I hope so. This wraps it up. And
Okay.
well, this is
Thanks.
goodbye then. Yeah, catch
Bye.
up later.
Yeah, definitely. See you and bye everyone.
Bye.